Hey guys, what's going on? Lonoc from Knife Guys Review. Today I'm going to be talking about how to vape on a budget. You know, a lot of college students are vapors and they really enjoy vaping, but when you're buying premium juices, it can be really difficult to um, have the money to buy juice. Um, so I came up with a few different tips and tricks that I can give you guys to kind of maintain vaping, but also keep it to where it's bare minimum. Um, First thing I would say for you, the first two things for you to figure out is number one, how much juice do you go through in a week on average? Number two, how much are you willing to or can you afford to spend on juice per week? It's really important to figure out those two things. Now, if you figure out, hey, I'm going through 60 mils a week, that's too much. It's going to be really difficult to go through 60 mils a week and still maintain cheap prices, because pretty much any 60 mil bottle is going to be probably $25, and that's a lot of money per week. If you're vaping because you have this nicotine dependency and you need to be getting this nicotine, I would say go up in a nicotine level. Well, go up in a nicotine level. That way, you won't need to vape as much to get the same amount of nicotine. That's one thing that you could do. Another thing you could do is just vape at lower wattages if you have a variable voltage device. Like this is the Rouleau RX200. Just vape at a lower wattage. I am a RDA guy. I've never owned a tank. Never owned a tank. So for me, my frame of thought is always RDAs, and you don't go through that much wire at all. Wire is usually not a big deal at all when considering vaping. But if you're not building your own coils, then yeah, that's a big issue because that can also be a lot of money. It's not that hard to build your own coils, and if you have this need, you're like, okay, I need to get fused clapped in, or these ridiculously insane builds, stapled builds. I don't even know what they're called. I can't remember what they're called, but it's okay to use simpler coils. I mean, if you could just use, it doesn't even have to be. It's not very difficult. Like just use a parallel build. Parallels are very easy and they get the job done very well. So just try to use parallel builds because they're pretty easy and you get good flavor and your ohms are pretty low. Okay, here's another tip. I'm sorry. Another tip is if you have friends that vape, then buy in bulk online together. Make orders together, get some cash together, get either a prepaid credit card, or if one of your friends has a credit card, or you have a credit card, just get together and get this huge order in. Make sure you or somebody else, make sure you're actually paying for the juice you're getting. There's a lot of places where you can get cheap vape juice. I think Mount Baker Vapes is one of them. You could also get them at cloudsbro.com. I think they have 120 mils for $20, which is actually pretty cheap. I've never ordered from them though, so I don't know how good their juice is. But that's one thing you could do. And if you don't really have a nicotine dependency, you just really like vaping for the flavor, and you find yourself vaping more than what you can afford, and maybe you just absolutely have to have the premium juice. Number one, try to find the premium juice for a cheaper price. I mean, I'm sure you could find it online for a cheaper price. If you can't find it for a cheaper price, then I would say try to leave your mod at home when you go to work or go to school, or at the very least leave it in your car so that way you're not going to be tempted to vape more than where you should. Or maybe what you could do is you could just get a bunch of old bottles and say, okay, this is how much I'm going to allow myself for today. I'm going to allow myself, like 3 mils of juice today, something like that. So just get one of these empty old vape juice bottles, remove the label so you can see how much is in there, and just put some in there and say, hey, this is what I'm going to allow myself today. When I run out, that's it. So that's another thing you could do. It's important to make sure that you're not going to kind of demolish your bank account because you're vaping. And if you have this need to go out and buy a new mod or a new RDA or a new tank, I mean, if your device works perfectly fine, then there's no reason to go out and get a $100 device or a $50 RDA when you already have one that works perfectly fine. Now, if you're like me and your screws are stripped inside of your mod like this, you can see quite a bit of my screws are fairly stripped out in there. You can go to like a Hobby Lobby and get replacement screws. I mean, or you could even buy it online. I'm sure that I've actually looked. There's quite a few places that have repair kits, which I think those come with like a bunch of O-rings that for your particular device and screws. But also a lot of electrician shops have those for electricians for computers. Electrician shops for computers. They have a lot of really tiny screws. You need a lot of really tiny screws when you're working on computers. That's another thing. So yeah, I mean, those are just a few things you could do. You know, buy in bulk with friends. Analyze how much you can afford per week and try to come up with a budget around that. If you find out you're vaping too much juice per week, you need to figure out ways for you to vape less. So either leave it at home when you go to school or go to work, or just get, if you have a nicotine dependency, then get a slightly stronger blend of juice. Or, I mean, there's always the option of making it yourself, but you want to make sure that when you're making it for yourself, you need to be really informed about how to do it and make sure that you're being safe, especially if you're making your own with nicotine in it, because nicotine can be very dangerous if you don't know what you're doing. You get it on your skin, that's very bad. You want to make sure you're using plastic gloves, keep it sealed, very tightly sealed in a safe place where no one's going to get to it, because that could be very bad if perhaps a younger child gets to it. It would be very, very awful. But yeah, it just takes some research to make your own juice. I personally don't make my own juice. I have considered it though, especially if a lot of these anti-vape laws become a thing, then you know you're not gonna be able to sample it in the stores. And if you're not gonna be able to sample it, then what's the point of even, you know, what's the point of even going to the stores? I mean, it's gonna be pretty awful for a lot of the local vape shops. But if you make it at home, you can make a small batch, write down what you did, and if you like the batch, and say, hey, this flavor, I'm going to name it this. This is the recipe for this flavor. But make sure you research how to do it. You want to know how to steep your juice, how to mix it, how to be careful with the nicotine. That's very important. Nicotine is very poisonous in a liquid state. You know, especially because they ship it in bottles that are super, super concentrated. And in this, it's very unconcentrated at all. So yeah, so there's just a few tips. I hope you guys enjoyed the new intro. This is just a Sunday afternoon video. Is it even afternoon? I don't even have my watch on. And just a Sunday afternoon video. So I just wanted to help you guys out with that. If you guys have any tips for the viewers on how to vape on a budget, then post them in the comments below. If this was interesting to you, give it a like. If you want to see more, I'd appreciate a sub. I'm probably going to be including a link in the description. If you would like to donate to my PayPal account, you can do that. You don't have to do that. I'm not saying whatsoever you have to. If you would like to, go ahead and do it. I have it set up to where when you click on the link, it's automatically going to be for $5, but you can change the amount to whatever you want to do. If you want to give me 1 cent, that's fine. So anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed watching this. I hope you found this informative. I've been going on for 10 minutes now. That's way too long. Alright, and I will catch you guys in the next episode. Next video, not next episode. Unless if I make this a more regular thing, then it might be next episode. But yeah, anyways, I'll see you in the next video. Alright, peace.